Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Gifted Season 1, Episode 2. It's called RX. Like I say, X is going to be in every single title.
This one seemed a bit of a stretch, like compared to last week's.
Yeah. I don't even get the title. What does it even mean?
No idea.
RX. Rex. I don't get it.
Me either. I feel like I'm missing something really obvious though, because
Yeah.
they put it as a title, so it's like it's just going over my head though.
Yeah, I actually have no idea what it means, but maybe it'll click as we talk about the
It's
episode.
all right.
I
We'll
don't
have
know.
a comment by now letting us know.
Probably. Episode 2, we picked up right where the last one left off, and we kind of follow, I would say, three plot threads. We have Reed, who's been held captive now by the Sentinel Security, and you have Agent Turner, who's interrogating him and trying to break him, and so on and so forth. We have Blink with the rest of them at the Mutant Underground headquarters. Which, by the way, reminds me, I might have mentioned this last week, but one of my little complaints about the show is that it really feels the need to give us captions telling us locations constantly, even when it doesn't really. Like last week, it told us, "Oh, they struck our family home." I can tell
Yeah,
that.
you get it from context. Don't you?
Yeah,
And I think though it was just a stylistic thing that once they started doing it, they're like, well, we'll do it for everything and keep it consistent.
yeah, because they came up like you've got Polaris walking through a prison. It comes up saying such and such prison. I'm like, oh, thanks for that. Oh, I
Yeah,
was confused before, but now I know it's a prison.
this is true.
So I don't know. But that's like, at least the prison. It's like okay, the prison's got a name. Maybe we need to know that name, which I've not remembered. So it's done a good job. But
But really, they should. That's a problem in itself because if we need to know the name, they should give us a better way of learning it through context,
sure,
not just
sure.
going, "This is the name."
Which is why I don't think it's actually that important. I think it's just a stylistic thing. But
Yeah.
the Strucker family home is one that I just thought was so redundant. No, you never needed that ever.
No, no.
It's a house. They clearly live here. It's fine. We get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously we've got the prison plotline, and we have the main plotline with Blink, because she's never travelled that far before, like she did in the last episode. She's gone into shock, and her powers are starting to like erupt and like do random things, and there's portals opening all over the place, and it's dangerous. And that's kind of the main drama is for the episode is focused.
Yeah. And we do have a little flashback at the beginning as well.
You mean the worst scene of the episode? Yes, go on.
I mean, I didn't like the scene. I like the point of the scene.
Yeah,
So,
the point of the scene is fine. I just think it's super like at first they're just it's a family day out a year ago. They're bowling together. They're making fun of each other. Of course, Lauren tricks a little bit and uses her powers to just finish off the strike.
don't blame her.
Yeah, I mean I would too. I'm not gonna right.
Yeah.
But then it gets really obvious with its messaging because this mutant girl at the next lane is being harassed by these random people, and I felt like they were just so over the top because they were just blatantly doing it in such a like family friendly public place.
Yeah.
It felt like I get the whole point is that it's blatant, but it felt so blatant that it felt cartoonish in how it was.
Yeah. Honestly, it being so over the top with its messaging is kind of my biggest problem with the episode as a whole. Like, there are a handful of times where throughout this episode I kind of go, really? You're going to put that as dialogue?
Yeah, no, it happens a few times. This one irked me the worst though. It felt so in
No,
your face.
I get it. I get it. I did like what I learnt about Reed, though, because the whole point was, he goes up and it shows that he is sympathetic to mutants. He's not a complete dick. This is his job, but he's a reasonable person still, even before he knows it's his kids. So I think it's important.
Yeah, that's there, and he tells the guy, take his daughter away. If you stay and fight this, it's just going to get worse. If you leave now, it can go
Yeah.
without any report incident or anything like that. It's not a big deal. Nothing too bad's happened yet,
Yeah.
but just have to walk. And of course, Lauren already being a mutant, it's like why does she have to leave? She wasn't the one causing the problem, and obviously that's the prejudice that we're going to be exploring throughout this show. Is that you got your normies, and then you got your mutants, and the mutants are the ones who are seen as dangerous. So. And it's brought up a lot in this episode. We get talk of mutant rights and how they're supposed to have rights, but as soon as they're deemed as dangerous, they go out the window.
This is it where sometimes it gets a bit on the nose. They talk about, the Civil Rights Act. It's like, yeah, but who cares?
And what was the other phrase that really cracked me up? It was Marcos who said, being a mutant's the biggest pre-existing condition, or something to that effect.
Yeah, when we're talking about medical insurance.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, okay, very good. That was very, I mean, it is a pre-existing condition. You're born with it, but it's
Yeah.
I mean, just it's really on the nose stuff.
Just turn it down a little bit. I like the messaging
At
because
least that one
it's
made me chuck.
essential.
See, the opening scene made me cringe at how sort of corny it was. Whereas him cracking that line about a pre-existing condition, yeah, it's bad and it's a bit on the nose, but it at least gave me a chuckle. Like I chuckled at that
Yeah,
one
no, I agree.
because it was amusing. But yeah,
Yeah.
so in terms of the main plot with Blank, this is probably my favorite part of the episode was her powers are erupt, or like she keeps making portals as she's like unconscious, and the only way they find out they can actually combat it is Lauren can sort of like squeeze them back together with her powers, which. I mean, I didn't think of the portal as a physical thing, but whatever.
No, and it seemed overcomplicated to me because I thought they were just, she just throws up a shield in the portal so they can't shoot through it and then just wait it out.
Yeah, I get that. Although our things never last that long. Like they always seem to go away quite quickly. So maybe that's...
I think it's just as much as she concentrates on it, though, isn't it? Because she's done the
maybe.
shields a few times, and it was lasting a bit.
But I guess it's maybe just what she feels more confident doing at this point.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But this is what she does. But what I really liked about it, though, is I liked the idea that it kept opening this portal to the same place. Like once they actually move her to this central location, and actually the really fun bit at the start where she opens a portal and this car, the truck, like almost gets in the portal and they all duck. The portal closes just in time, but it cuts off the back of the truck and it skids into the room. I thought that was really fun. That was a really cool, little, exciting moment. But it keeps opening this portal to this same road, and every time it opens, there's like, at first it's just some passerbys, there's a guy with a gun, and then next time there's some police, and they're looking. It's like they keep calling more people in because this portal keeps opening.
And they've seen through. They go, hang on, these are mutants doing this. We're ready. We're calling the authorities.
Calling the SWAT, and eventually one guy actually walks through, and Thunderbird has to. That's still a weird name. Thunderbird has to punch him back through, and I actually kind of like this, and I like that the camera never went on the other side. Like the only time we kind of went through was when Thunderbird was using his powers to like kind of hear all the radios, but even that, it was always from that point of view. We never got like a reverse shot of what they were looking at outside.
No, we never looked in. We just, even then, we zoomed in and we focused in on a specific pit, but it was still from his side.
I thought that was just a really nice stylistic touch that made it feel like, okay, we don't know what's going on out there other than what we're seeing through this window, so we're kind of like in their position. And that's building up. I still think Andy's kind of... I mean, even though he does kind of jump in and use his powers at one point, he's still the worst actor in the show, and he's still kind of annoying.
Oh, yeah. I was really glad he didn't have much to do this episode. I know that sounds harsh, but he mostly just sits out there and does nothing.
Hey, let's not forget...
I was okay with that.
Let's not forget in the flashback, he did some beatboxing.
I tried to forget.
That was where that scene went downhill for me. It was when he started.
That was the moment.
Yeah, it was that, and then it just got worse from there. But that was the first step off the cliff.
What am I watching?
So I thought the portal thing was fun, which led, of course, she needs medication, and it turns out that I don't know if we knew this last episode. Maybe it was mentioned briefly, but Kate, Amy Acker's character, who by the way was on the spin-off to the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Are we going to do this every episode?
Every single week. She's a nurse, and she doesn't really. I mean, she's kind of done a little bit of research into mutant medicine, but it's not the exact same. So she doesn't feel super confident in what she's doing. But she's the best they've got. She's the only one who has any idea of what she needs. But they need this specific medication where they actually have to like sort of go to the in the hospital and actually sort of process it and make it. So her and Marcos head out. Which she's not very thrilled about leaving her kids behind at this point, because obviously they're very distraught about the husband, about Reed being taken at the start of the episode. So, but she goes with them for this kind of little heist where they go into the hospital. It's a mutant hospital, and we see how they're treated, and that's where all this conversation about pre-existing conditions and stuff. The doctor's kind of I guess racist is the best word we've got. I feel like we should have another word for mutants, because it's, again, another thing.
But this is one of those moments where I say, look, I get it, but it's so on the nose.
Yeah, he assumes that this is domestic abuse because she has like a cut in her head. We know where she got the cut. She was in a chase at the end of the last episode. She's been dodging trucks in the middle of the building. But like he thinks it's domestic abuse, and like she has to kind of assure. I think what's interesting, at least from her perspective, is that over the course of her episode, she kind of accepts that this is kind of her fight now, that she sees, because she thought, oh yeah, you've got rights, but we made sure that was in the law, but then she sees how it actually works, and by the end of the episode, she's sitting down with the kid and saying, no, like, this is our turn to help fight this, which it kind of nicely juxtaposes with Reed's story, where, while he's sympathetic, at the end of the episode, it looks like he might be tempted to not fight the fight, to throw in the towel.
Yeah, they're doing the opposite. Whereas, she's gone, right, that our personal thing isn't as important as the overall ideology. Whereas he's gone, no, my personal family above all else, essentially.
Yeah, I wouldn't say she's putting the overall thing above her personal thing. It's just so much that she sees that she fits into it, or she sees that her kids fit into it.
I think she sees it's bigger than just her family, though. Like, it's more important to fight for the whole thing rather than just for her kids.
Yeah, but I think that's like it's not like, I don't think she would then sacrifice her kids for the greater good of the cause.
No, I don't think she's there yet. No,
yeah, it's not that at all. It's just she sees it. They're part of this group. She has to then protect the whole group so that our kids have a future. It's not just like, okay, we can save them today, but if we don't solve the problems on a larger scale, they're always going to be seen as different. They're always going to see as being on the run. They're always going to see these things. Whereas he's offered at the end where he's like, because all episode reads kind of like, oh, like, I know what you've got on me. I've been doing this for years. Like, you've got this, you don't have this. This is bullshit. Even though he wavers a little bit at times, because like it proves that, oh yeah, your coworker like helped you find like the mutant resistance, and because of that, you're technically classed as a terrorist because you were aiding and abetting, and so on and so forth. But at the end, he lays it down. He's like, no, you're terrified that you don't have enough, which is why you're pushing me so hard. It's why you dragged my mother in so that I could see her being interrogated. It's because of all of this. And he's like, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to make a deal, and me and my family are exempt from anything. Like, we're good. But then he says, well, you've got a deal, but I get the mutant resistance. I get the underground network.
Yeah.
So while we see Lauren kind of, sorry, not Lauren, sorry, that's the daughter. Kate. Well, we see, it's because I keep wanting to say Amy Acker, but I shouldn't say that. I should use the character name. Well, actually, I want to keep saying Fred, let's be honest. But Kate, on the other end is like, no. She's bonding with these people. She's seeing them as more human beings, whereas he is still at a stage where he's like, oh, they're kind of, they're bargaining chips, they're pawns.
Yeah.
So I can see some interesting drama coming from that down the road.
Yeah.
What I did like, I like there's a mutant whose power is that he causes fear. Because as they're coming back to base, like, she starts panicking, like, oh, we can't go, something's wrong, we have to turn around. And it's like, oh no, that's our defense system, we've got a mutant who can do that. And I thought, that's pretty cool.
Nice, isn't it?
I like that touch.
Yeah, it felt really Harry Potter to me, because that's how like all the castles and things are protected with things like that, like where they'll want to turn around, or they'll forget why they were coming, or they just won't see anything.
Okay, I did not remember that, but I'll take your word for it.
You should.
I like it because obviously it kind of, her commitment. Obviously, she says all that to the kids at the end about this is our fight now as well. But she kind of, the choice where she actually makes the moment where she actually makes that choice is when she decides to run and give the medication, because the other guy can't do it. He won't know what to give her, how much to give her. So she runs in even though it's dangerous. She jumps through some portals even though it's dangerous.
I love the effect of all those portals shooting around. It looked great.
It did look pretty cool, especially when she realised that there were portals to other parts of the building, because she looks through the portal and sees, I can just jump through this and get there instead of dodging
going around. Yeah.
So that stuff was fun. I liked that the most. The prison stuff with Polaris was okay. I liked it from her point of view. I liked the hair side of it.
Yeah,
I like that. That scene was quite good, because I actually rolled my eyes when it went into this scene in the shower. I was like, why have we got a shower scene? Like, is she going to get like shanked or something?
That's what I thought. That's where I was going as well. But it actually had a good purpose.
Yeah, I mean, is this just for the TNA? Like, we can't even show it on TV, but we're going to tease it repeatedly over and over again with all these.
Well, that's network TV in a nutshell.
Yeah, all these shots of like all these naked ladies, but we just can't quite see anything, which is pointless, and just it almost makes it worse that they can't show it. It's like, if you're going to do it, then just do it. But no, there's a dramatic point, because in the comics, I believe she does have green hair, and here, sure enough, we see that as soon as she goes in the shower, all the dye starts washing out, and we see that she's actually got green hair. So it was a nice moment. It was a good dramatic moment.
It was a nice touch, because obviously it goes back to how she was able to hide, because green hair's not that weird. Some people dye their hair green anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't stand out too much, but even so, she wanted to blend in. She wanted to just be normal.
Because that's mentioned in another scene. Blink was stealing food because no one will hire her because she doesn't look human.
Right, exactly. And here now it's just another layer of protection that's gone for her. She stands out in the prison, which I think is really interesting, that she's in prison with regular people as well.
Yeah, that was interesting to me, because when she went, I mean, I noticed the collar, but like when she went into the cell, I'm like, wait a minute, her powers, she can move things, like metal specifically, seemingly, and she's like moving the bars, but they've got this collar on her that, but as soon as she tries to use her powers, it like shoots her with pain. You know what? I'm not just saying this so I can do it again, but it reminds me a lot of Spike's chip in the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes, very good.
But,
It's a shock collar. You didn't need to use the example.
No, because it senses when she's doing the thing.
Yeah, so it's a shock collar.
Yes, but actual shock collars don't sense what they're doing. They're activated, do they not?
This is activated, just activated by the powers.
Aye, so it's
Not
like a
by a
sensor.
person.
It can tell.
Yeah, but you didn't need to mention Spike. God damn it!
It was the same thing. God,
It was
it's
unnecessary. You've
No,
done
it's,
that for the
it's a
sake of
valid
it.
comparison.
God damn it!
So she's got her collar, and obviously wants to get it off. She's talking to the other, the other mutants that are in the prison, and it seems like I wonder if this is almost intentional. Why they put them in here is because they depower them. It's like it's almost more of a punishment because we see this like prisoner who like decides that mutants belong to her in here, and she's like the boss, and she like beats her up, and we see that she actually fights through the pain to use her power a little bit because she hits her with a table. But this scene gets really dark.
Yeah, it does. I was not expecting that.
So Polaris fights. Well, I say fights back. She basically says piss off when she's told that she has to be her servant, and so they knock her down, and then this prisoner leans in and says, I hear you're knocked up. Which, first of all, Polaris' look in her face does not suggest that she was aware of this.
No, that's true.
She looks shocked by that revelation. And secondly, then the prisoner says, well, let's see if it survives this, and kicks her in the stomach. That is dark as shit. I was not expecting that.
I was like, when she said that, I was like, where are they going with this? And then they just do it. I'm like, Christ, this is not what I expected from this show.
And don't get me wrong, it's really satisfying when she uses her power to like lift up the table and like sort of like pin the prisoner against the fence. But like she's still getting beat up, and then she's thrown in the hole afterwards. I'm like, man, this is miserable. You know, Marcos, get out here! Come on,
Yeah.
mutants, X-Men, assemble! Which is the Avengers thing, but whatever. X-Men, to me, my X-Men. That's what they say.
There you go.
That's what Xavier says. So I don't know. Oh dear. By the way, one thing we never mentioned actually last week, I think I hinted at it and then I forgot to actually get to it, is that the Strucker thing, like the name Strucker, like you remember in the Avengers movies there's a Strucker and he creates the twins. Like I think in the comics Strucker's actually like like this family.
Baron Strucker, isn't it?
Aye, but these kids in the comics I think are evil actually. They're
okay.
these evil twins, which I think they kind of hint at the end of this episode. We have that little scene at the end with this scientist who's like, oh, those twins in the 60s in Rio de Janeiro, like, there was this incident. So I don't know if they're maybe hinting at this is like a new generation of like something.
Yeah, that's what I was getting. I was thinking, okay, so grandparents, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't think we're saying Baron von Strucker because we know him from the movies. I don't think it's going to connect to him or anything because obviously that's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is unconnected. I don't even think we'll get that character's name. I don't know if the parents in this are actually from the comics or if they're just like a new set of parents for them that they've created for this. But
not sure. Yeah,
I'm sure the commenters, because commenters were filling in some of this last week. I'm sure we'll get more filled in blanks this week. We should also mention there's a new mutant we got a lot more of this week that we didn't see last week. Her name is Dreamer, although you never actually get that in the episode. I'm pointing it out because I recognise the actress because she was in Twin Peaks this year, and she was in an episode of Timeless last year, so I recognised her, but I really don't know what she is yet or what she can do.
She kind of just spouts exposition at the minute.
Yeah, it kind of feels like there's going to be more characters introduced in this network. She's just the next one that we're going to get to.
Yeah, it's the same way we see the guy who projects the fear.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's a really, mutant-looking guy compared to some of the others.
Yes. Yeah. So, so the prison stuff was okay. It had those highlights. It had the shower scene, and then it had the ultra dark, and then the fighting back in that scene were pretty good.
Yeah.
But obviously, some of the problems it still has being super on the nose. Some of the interrogation stuff with Reed was a little bit dull.
At times, but other times I was really enjoying their back and forth. I think the two actors play off each other quite well, even though what was actually going on was kind of boring.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, they're both decent actors. I liked the point where he said, "My daughter died." Was a mutant.
Yeah, I
blast.
think it was like July 15th or June 15th.
Yeah.
And that seemed to have been the event. Like that. Maybe that's what happened to the X-Men. When they vanished.
Whether that ties into what happened in Logan or
I was
is
thinking that as well because it's been very, sketchy as to whether or not this could be part of that universe. Like, there's some things that say it could be, others that say it's definitely not.
and the funny thing is though, is given the time period, like they'd never have to actually answer it because by the time we get to Logan, it's like been years since this event, like decade or so.
Right.
So they could you could sort of accept that it is if you want to, but so this blast happens and he says, "Do you think I care if the mutant who started it was a good mutant or a bad mutant? I don't really care."
Yeah, he'll never know which person killed his daughter. So it's like they're all the same to him now.
Yeah. So no. As far as comparing it to the first episode and the quality going, like like did it improve? Did it get better? Did it get worse? How are you feeling?
I think it's kind of on par. It still has some of the same problems, but and it's still got a bit exposition-y. It's still a bit on the nose with the messaging and a bit nail on the head with the dialogue.
It still feels like the sort of stuff that could grow out of, though, doesn't it?
It does. It all feels like things that you can move past these. Just tighten up a little bit, where bit of time, bit of knowing your characters a bit better, which is something that often happens on these sorts of shows.
Yeah, I think I officially like a few of the characters, though. I like Marcos. He's grown on me a little bit.
Yeah.
The way he would like just be sort of frank about like mutant rights, and the way he was sort of talking to her. Also, I liked her like ripping off his wound. Like, oh, you got a
And he's
gunshot.
like, yeah, like, it's cool, right? He's got a good attitude that
Yeah.
makes him likable.
Yeah, he's
More
like
so than anything that he actually does. He's got a likable persona.
it's to a certain extent as well. I feel like Polaris last episode I didn't really care about. This episode I cared a little bit more about her.
Yeah, it did something with her.
Yeah, I feel like I'm starting to she's more of a person now. Even Blink to a point. When she wakes up and she's concerned about what's happened, like it's doing a little bit with everyone, just a touch.
It's got a lot to juggle because there's so many characters, so
Yeah.
it's hard to get a grasp on everyone so soon. It feels like this will take time for them to grow them out,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they could do it quite easily.
Yeah, but we're seeing it kind of slowly happen, at least with some of them. Maybe more of them will get some more time later, and
Yeah.
so on. That's just kind of the way it'll be. It's funny actually, just and I'm not doing this so I can compare it to any old shows, but the thing with Amy Acker is that this is probably the last thing I saw her in. I've not finished it yet, but I was working through Person of Interest, and in that she was a total badass. Like she was like take no prisoners. Like she can walk through the room like a Terminator and that. So it's kind of funny jumping to this, and she's a bit more timid, although she's still very capable. She's swiping medicine, and she's
That's it. I think I liked in this episode that she was very proactive. I think last episode she kind of just reacted and went with the flow. I didn't really get a sense of her character. Whereas here, she chose, no, I'm going to go and do this. I'm the one who can do this. And she was very capable.
Do you know what I think's done that? I think separating her from the husband's been a good idea, because I think her having to step up and be the sole one making decisions for the family gives her that to do. Whereas the last episode, because he's the one who's involved with that,
Yeah, he's got the experience, so she defers to him.
Yeah, so he was just let to take the lead because no, he's involved in this anyway. He should be the one making the shots.
Which makes sense.
It does, yeah. But because he's gone now, and she just has to step up and be this. I mean, not mother. She's already a mother, but be the one.
She's going to be the family leader.
Yeah, she's got to make the choices, and it seems like she's already kind of on side of like, no, let's stay and help the mutants. Let's actually work. They need a doctor, and I'm as close as they're going to get. So,
Yeah.
Which is also good because it's kind of like I did roll my eyes a little bit when she said she was a nurse because there's always one of them, like that's how she becomes useful because she's a nurse. There's always a healer.
Yeah.
But it does in a weird way give them something they didn't have before. I mean, unless they get a new mutant who can just heal things, like
It's too easy though, isn't it?
yeah, she gives them this vital thing from society they didn't have. And it makes her just as valuable as any of their powers because she has this skill.
Yeah, she's contributing to the society rather than just being there.
Yeah. Of course, they name dropped the Brotherhood, they name dropped the X-Men again.
Which I like that they're not shying away from it.
Yeah.
I mean, it reminds me, like early Supergirl, where it was just my cousin all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, look, you don't need to mention it all the time, but when it's relevant, just say it.
Yeah. I wonder if by the end of the show they'll actually start using the X-Men like, if this group will decide that this is what the X-Men represented, we're going to take that mantle. It wouldn't
I can
surprise
see
me.
that.
I could see that being like a season 1 or 2 finale moment where you just like maybe the camera will pan out and they've put a big X on a wall or something like that, and it's like, okay, right,
Yeah.
now we X-Men.
I think it'd be really interesting if they decide to be the Brotherhood, because in the idea that the Brotherhood was kind of wanting to stand up against humanity, whereas the X-Men were wanting to integrate.
It depends where they go.
I think it'd be interesting if they go, no, we want to fight against what humanity is right now, sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe, or maybe the fact that Kate's there and is such an ally would dissuade them from that. And
Could do.
I
I think it'd be interesting to see what they choose though at the time.
All right, well there you go. That is episode 2 of The Gifted. Let us know what you thought of it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mail_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can do that over there. But otherwise, guys, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. We'll see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?